What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Chaos Theory Podcast. This is your co-host, Ivan Nguyen, aka Kinetic. And of course, I got my training partner in crime, Kenneth Chaos Villalobos. Take it away, brother.
What is happening, guys? Yo, it's been 3 long months, brother.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of requests, to be honest with you.
Since the lockdown episode that we had, which was amazing, by the way. Shout outs to Lock for
Thank you,
taking part.
That. It's great.
We're not going to waste any time, brother. We have a lot to cover, and I definitely want to get into this as soon as possible. So let's kick things off with a quick announcement. I recently made partner on YouTube.
Congratulations, man.
Thanks, brother.
Well
Thanks.
earned.
So now that ad revenue is going to start kicking in, bro. I just wanted to give a quick thank you to everyone who tuned into the YouTube channel, everyone who shared, subscribed, liked, all that good stuff. I appreciate you guys. I love you all, and I hope to continue to captivate as only I can in the Marvel 2 community.
And thank you, everybody, for also the feedback and the comments. We read through all of them, and it's been a very humbling experience. So I'm sure both of us are very happy with that.
Yeah, definitely. So just to kind of give everyone a recap on what's been going on the past 3 months, the last time that I made a post on the YouTube channel regarding community-related topics, I posted about the New York Invitational that Chris Matrix hosted. I didn't get the W, unfortunately. We're going to get into that. I did kind of take a break after coming back. Part of that was due to me catching COVID. I did catch COVID out there while I was in New York. And luckily I recovered. It took me a couple of weeks to kind of get back into 100% shape.
For sure.
But we're back. We're ready. And I am ready to get back into producing that content that you guys love. So, or most of you at least. So let's talk about the tournament before I get into the origins. The New York tournament was held at Revival, New York. I got 3rd place, as everybody knows by now. I did want to address the loss that I took over there. I did get 3rd place. I lost to Josh 360 in the winner's bracket, and then I lost to Justin Salvador, just amazing, who I had never played before. And it was definitely a learning experience. First and foremost, the vibes were amazing, bro. Everyone was respectful. Everyone was chill. They were happy to have me there. It was great. A couple things that kind of held me back regarding that loss. First of all, I didn't listen to the advice that some of the guys gave me regarding the fight stick.
Yeah. Tell us a little more about.
I had recently replaced the buttons with the gold chrome Sanwa buttons, which they look great, but they weren't of the greatest quality.
Right.
So I noticed that they weren't as responsive, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Whatever, man. I mean, an L is an L.
Yes, of course.
But so the first thing I did when I got back was get rid of those buttons. I switched back to traditional Sanwa, and now we're good to go. Fight stick maintenance is super important, as you guys know. You want to make sure that if you're playing at high level, if you have a money match, a tournament, whatever, you got to make sure that your equipment is top notch, because at the end of the day, it's nobody's fault but your own.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
that's just an L that I have to hold as far as tournament goes.
Yep.
Which is fine. You know, a lot of people love it, some hate it, but it is what it is, man. We got to move on. The Airbnb, we did have an Airbnb out there, which is pretty much a salty suite. All of the East Coast guys, most of them showed up, and it was great, man. Good food, good vibes, good games. What I did come to realize was that I feel like now I'm more acclimated to long sets. The first to 10s, the first to 15s. I want to say that now I am expected to lose to players that I've never played before, especially in the beginning, because I don't know their habits. I don't know their patterns.
Their tendencies.
Yeah. So it takes a little while. Definitely more than a 2 out of 3 to kind of learn that player and how he moves and how he deals in certain situations. Right. And once the download is complete, then it's kind of a wrap. So Just Amazing did take me out of the tournament, but I did end up getting more wins on him.
Yeah.
Throughout the Airbnb session and all that.
Yeah.
He did give me one set for the very first to 5 set that we played. He did beat me 5-3, I believe. I was using Matrix.
Yeah.
And then I beat him afterwards in another 1st to 5, and then I 5-0'd him after the tournament. So he's definitely a good player. He reminds me a lot of Abs.
Yeah.
West Coast Abs, yeah, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit, but
yeah,
it's kind of like the East Coast version of Abs.
Yeah,
and if you know him, you know that he has a very aggressive Sandthrax team,
yep.
And that's exactly what Justin brings to the table. I did want to give a shout out to Chris Matrix for putting the event on, organizing it, having me out there. G-Con for providing the stream during the Airbnb sessions.
That's right, he did.
And, of course, to Donut for bringing setups, Dreamcasts. A lot of these guys really took one for the team as far as equipment, stream, and all that. I did want to thank you guys. I love you all. And thanks for having me out there. Now,
that's awesome.
Moving on to EVO 2022. Evolution
Got a lot of hot news, man.
Yeah. So Evolution is coming back after 2 years. After 2 years of online tournaments, it's finally coming back to in-person format. It's going to be held August 5th through the 7th at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. It's the very first in-person event since 2019, and there's a lot of controversy over what's been going on with the event in general in terms of management and direction. And I just wanted to give you guys a quick backstory on that. It should have. So first of all, EVO 2020 should have taken place that year at the Mandalay Bay Resort, but as we all know, the pandemic hit, which
we were hoping that, all of us, I think at the time, we were hoping that it wouldn't get canceled. Like, so many of us were like concerned, right, over COVID and what was going to happen, and especially because that year was supposed to be, the top 8 for all the Marvel Titans being in place, and
bro, that year was supposed to be my year, man. It was supposed to be the year
it was coming
that I would have qualified for the 8-man invitational tournament of champions.
Correct.
And it was my year to just blast through everybody.
Yeah.
Everyone was anticipating me playing against Mendoza.
Yep.
And unfortunately, everything was kind of put on the back burner because of COVID. So we kind of had to move on from that. So Evo opted for an online tournament format because people couldn't play in person, which was, controversial on its own.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Wizard, the CEO, Joey, he was, I guess he was taken out, right?
Yeah.
He was fired. He was let go from the company
due
to alleged charges of sexual misconduct.
No, yeah. So, it was a very hot and controversial.
Yeah, so it was a big mess. An interim CEO was put in place, and then a lot of the publishers that were involved, like Capcom, Bandai, NetherRealm, they all decided to kind of pull out from the event.
Take their name out of the hat.
Yeah,
too much. That was just bad PR.
Yeah, exactly. Now 2021 in March, they announced that they had been bought out by Sony, which was a very big move. Everyone was thinking, well, what's going to happen? What's going to happen with the consoles that people use Xbox consoles or so on and so forth. So they kind of had to figure all that out. And now it's back. It's back at the Mandalay Bay. So it's going to be interesting because on the website now, Marvel 2 is back on as an official event.
Yeah.
So Evolution is going to provide a tournament organizer. So it's being considered on the actual lineup, I guess. I mean, at least in my eyes, if it's a tick box that you can check off, then that's got to mean then that means that this isn't like a side tournament, right?
It's about as official as it gets, honestly.
So now we're back. Now, because of the buyout, a lot of people were kind of, myself included, we were a little hesitant about jumping on board because of the fees. Now, to give you guys a little bit of history on this, starting 2012, Evolution started charging what was called a Spectator Fee. So before that year, I mean, this is an event that's been running since 96, I believe. It was called Battle of the Bay.
Yeah. And
then in 2002, it was rebranded as Evolution.
Yep.
And it was free to spectate. So if you wanted to show up to the convention, you could just grab a seat, grab something to drink, and then you could watch, all the top players play it out.
Right.
If you wanted to join a tournament, then of course you would pay the tournament fee. Starting 2012, they started adding spectator fees. They thought, hey, all these people that are walking in and spectating, we might as well make some money off of that. So I took the liberty of obtaining a list of the fees that were charged over the years. One of my buddies, Ephraim, did his due diligence and put this list together for us based off of his experience because he's attended every year. So it started at a $10 fee, and that $10 fee in 2012 got you the badge and a free T-shirt.
Yep.
Okay, 2013 they bumped it up to $20.
So we about doubled the price now.
Yeah, 2014 they brought it up to $40.
We doubled the price one more time.
Double that on that. Now 2015 and 2016, that it was still $40, but that's when they started doing, if I'm not mistaken, that's when they started doing the early registration and then late registration.
Right.
So if you waited to pay on site, it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was like $60 or $65 at the door.
Yep.
Which is still
no, it was starting to sting a lot more.
kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right. Now 2017 they bumped it up to $57. You still get your free T-shirt. Okay. 2018 was $42, but guess what? You don't get a shirt anymore.
They took the shirt away.
They took the shirt away. I mean, it wasn't really that great of quality anyway, right?
Right.
Pro Club or like AAA, you know, the 5 for $10 T-shirts.
AAA is actually garbage, man.
Now, if you fast forward to 2022, the early bird registration after taxes and fees, it's $84
That's insanity.
just to be a spectator. Not that doesn't include you entering any tournaments. If you want to play Street Fighter 5,
it's literally for you just get into the door.
just to get in
Just
and
get
watch.
in.
Yeah. So if you want to play Street Fighter 5, Mortal Kombat, guess what? It's another $20, $25, whatever the fee was.
Right.
I mean, Marvel 2, the fee was $20, 21 something with taxes and fees, whatever.
Yeah.
So I waited until normal registration, and it cost me $110.
Oh my god.
And then on top of that, if you want like a custom badge, you know,
That's right.
the
You
lanyard,
you have a
with
lanyard
the,
with, like,
the acrylic.
with your own gamer tag or whatever.
Yeah, it's another
moniker
10
that you go by.
Yep, another $10. The T-shirt now is like $25.
They're starting to nickel and dime you at everywhere they
Yeah.
can.
So a lot of us in the community, we were thinking that a better alternative would be to just get an Airbnb. Get an Airbnb that's big enough to house a bunch of us, and we would hold our own tournament. But then that was shot down because we were thinking of people that wouldn't be able to find it, or people that would be late. Like it would have been too much trouble to hold a tournament on our own.
Yeah.
Because you can't organize, like if history has shown, our community is very unorganized when it comes to punctuality.
Oh, absolutely.
People miss their flights. Flights are being delayed. I mean, it's happened to me. I've shown up late to tournaments. So we decided, you know what? Let's bite the bullet and let's do this thing. It's the first year under the Sony moniker. So let's see what happens, right?
Yep. And it's one of those things like we talk about our almost like complacency when it comes to like just showing up on time for the tournaments. If it's bound to happen, you rest assured it will happen in terms of like how late they would be. And, you know, it was just one of those things that we kind of knew when you wanted to organize your own tournament, to get everyone to be there and to be there on time it's a very difficult thing to get all the logistics straight.
And if you guys, that's a very good point. And if you guys are still thinking about going to the tournament, just so you know, the registration fee now is $145. We're now in the stages of late registration. Now, how much it's going to cost at the door?
Oh, that's even
I
more.
couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Now, what this fee covers, it covers Friday and Saturday only.
You don't even get tickets to the final.
Okay, now if you want to attend EVO finals, you need to buy a separate ticket for that since it's at a different venue.
Yeah.
It's just a business now.
Yep.
You know, we kind of strayed away from the passion of the fighting game community, and now it's
They've monetized this.
yeah, they have. Yeah, it's
As much as
unfortunate,
they
but
can.
we're gonna do our best, guys. I'm definitely gonna be in shape for this. I'm gonna practice. My equipment is gonna be top notch. We're definitely going to be ready for this. So it's gonna be once again August 5th through the 7th at Mandalay Bay. I'll shoot the link in the descriptions in case you want to register, and that's it for that, brother. Now let's get back to your boy's origins.
Here we
okay?
go.
Here we
The
go.
juicy bits, man.
The juicy content you crave. So do me a favor, guys. Turn off the lights, okay? Turn off the Wi-Fi, okay? You need to run this on mobile data. Grab yourself a kid's cuisine that you have in the. I know you have some in the freezer. Grab a kid's cuisine, throw it on. Okay, make sure you puncture the film before you microwave it. Grab a Capri Sun.
Oh my
And
goodness.
get
a Capri
ready.
Sun, too.
It's got to be the Pacific Cooler.
That's the best one, honestly.
best flavor, yeah.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
You can't go wrong. And get ready for a ride. So the last time that we left off, as far as my story, I had just lost to Blockable Laser, Wes.
Okay,
And I talked about how the Chaotic 1 era had finished. I had this big build-up as a contender and as the next big thing, and it all came to a screeching halt because Wes just totally whooped my ass.
He did.
And as I mentioned, with him and I, we had a heart-to-heart talk afterwards, and he kind of took me under his wing and gave me some real-life advice on how to carry myself, and it really played a factor into who I am today.
Really admirable of him.
Absolutely. That was pretty much the end of, I want to say, fall of 2009.
Yeah.
As 2010 came around, I continued to run through local competition. Like nothing changed as far as my involvement in the community. A lot of people thought that I was going to disappear, that I wasn't going to show my face again.
Right.
And that was further from the truth. I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Okay, I don't have to do this chaotic one shtick anymore. So all that's left to do is just play.
Yeah.
So I continued to play, and I was still leveling up. I was still receiving backlash from what I did as Chaotic 1. You know, I'd be at
people were still holding on to that.
Yeah. I would still be at the arcade, and people would make comments here and there, like, "Oh, don't make me call Wes."
Really?
Or why couldn't you play like that when you played against Wes, kind of deal.
Wow.
He owns your soul. Like they were just making all these comments, and I had to eat crow basically, right? Because of that. It's just one of those things that I had to deal with. Whatever.
Yeah.
I was still going to show up. I was still going to put my quarter up and level up as best as I could.
I'm gonna let that stop you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did need to make adjustments to my gameplay because of that. Now, going from playing a casual in a casual setting to a high money match situation, you have to make those adjustments. So,
can you speak a little bit more like specifics as to what kind of adjustments that you?
Well, I was a very flashy, what's called a flashy player.
Right.
I was doing a lot of unnecessary moves that were pleasing to the eye, I guess you could say, but they weren't winning me matches. They looked great on the screen, but
it was to get the crowd hype.
Yeah, it was a lot of high exertion, high execution movement.
Yeah.
Like reflying when I could have just short rocket punch into death or something like that.
Right.
And it was costing me matches, so I had to go back to being, instead of being flashy, being efficient.
Yeah.
And finishing my food. Kind of everybody would say that you need to finish your food. And that's an expression that I drilled into my head when I would play local competition. And I was getting better. The guys that were beating me, like Dorian, Regency Rob, even Wes, now I was starting to get the edge over them. And this is just Regency. At Family Fun, I had to deal with guys like Mega Man DS, right? Fanatic, Finesse.
Finesse was there.
Yeah, I was catching up. I was catching up to them to where now, if I wasn't going head to head with them, I was beating them in sets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was beating them in sets. And
that's awesome.
And the money match stipulations were still there to kind of keep things enticing. We were still doing, okay, I'll play you for $10. I'll play you for $20, and we would run sets. Sometimes I would lose, right?
Right.
And I wouldn't see these guys for a week because we would play on Fridays, right? So if you lost, dude, that was a long drive home, man. You'd drive home thinking about, damn.
And you would reflect on everything.
Yeah, and then you would see it on the forums. Yep. People were saying, oh, Khaos isn't that good. He's not ready for the big leagues. I had to deal with it. And I took it on a very personal level.
Right.
Like I said, I was still, I had already given up the Chaotic 1 persona, but I was still hungry for competition and kind of beating myself up if I wasn't performing at the level that I wanted to. You know what I mean?
We are honestly our worst critics ourselves. So
I was the worst critic, dude.
Oh yeah.
To myself.
Yeah, I think just the type of people that we are, like me and you, Ken, especially, we definitely reflect a lot on things and tend to give it a lot more thought than most people, I would suppose. And I think it just naturally comes with when you're really competitive about something and really passionate about something, you're gonna be hard on yourself. So it just happens.
Dude, I fucking hated myself, man, and it would reflect on everybody around me.
Yeah. Like
my girlfriend at the time, I wouldn't want to hang out with her. She would want to do things, and it was the same thing. I would say, you know what, I'm not in the mood. I'm still focused. I felt like I was scratching the ceiling. Like as Chaotic 1, I had talked my way, almost like Conor McGregor, right? Like I had talked or Colby Covington.
Yeah.
I had talked my way up to the top, And then everything just came to a screeching halt because I hit a ceiling, which was playing against a top player that I wasn't ready for. Like in this case, it was Wes, right?
Right.
But I think what helped me out was that Wes became a training partner.
Yes.
Afterwards, him and I, we found common ground, and we ended up hanging out outside of the arcade. You know, we'd have Dreamcast sessions, and he really helped me work on my short game and my mid game.
Yeah.
What to do in certain situations, when to hit buttons, when not to hit buttons. I was used to playing against people that would... I mean, I was a Magneto player, right?
Right.
So Magneto is high intensity, high velocity, and when it comes to hitting a reset, I was used to players that would choose to block as opposed to hitting buttons.
Players that would choose to mash during a reset.
Exactly, right. Mashing, I mean, your opponent might have inputs that beat out your reset, right?
Right.
And Wes did that to me during the money match set, which is why I could not reset him. Because he knew when to hit a button at the right time and interrupt my flow.
Yeah.
And I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you train for something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, using Roundhouse as an example, a lot of people aren't ready for him because of his style. He loves the scramble.
Yeah.
Because he knows that if he gets the better end of the stick, he's going to make you pay for that.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's something that I had to learn. And playing Wes really helped me pick my spots a little bit more.
Own that, yeah.
So I guess you could say the leveling up was still happening. I was still improving. I was still getting better. And that made me more dangerous.
Yeah.
For the people in the arcade. They still didn't like... I mean, I think that I squashed it with most of the players, but there were still some that still kind of held like a little bit of contempt. Right. Because of what I did, you know, and which is fine. I mean, you can't please everybody.
Correct.
But when it comes to competition and the way that I was playing, I knew, okay, the guys that were beating me before, they can't hang with me now. Like
I wonder how that must have made them feel, like regarding like all the comments that they had made previously, and then now they're starting to see that they cannot seem to beat you.
Well, before these guys were chomping at the bit to play me for money. Hey, let's play for $5, $10, $20, and now the challenges they weren't really coming that often anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it was high level guys that felt that they still had an edge on me, like Fnatic, fucking dirtbag, Mega Man DS. Finesse never really challenged me. He played more for the love of the game. Him and I never really got to money match.
That's cool.
So 2010 was kind of like a fresh start for me. When Evolution came around, Evo 2010, it was the last year for Marvel 2, as you remember. Yeah. Marvel 3 was on the horizon. We knew that they were about to launch right?
The game.
They were going to launch the game the following year.
Right.
So Evo 2010, it was held on the PlayStation 3 console.
I don't know why they did that, man. Like, that's one of the things that I always felt like, just in hindsight, it was just a bad move. Like, why on the last year would you decide to put it on PS3 when you knew that it always ran better on Dreamcast, and the whole community embraced Dreamcast anyway?
It was a risky move, man. Because you're talking about players that had sticks specifically designed for Dreamcast, yes. Right? And now you got to switch over to
everyone was using, I believe,
the Japanese stick,
the TE stick,
the TE, yeah.
At the time.
And if you're used to American, right. Now you got to move over to. I mean, I would know more than anybody what it's like to switch over to Japanese stick, right?
Right.
And so it threw a lot of people off. But I wasn't able to go to Evo 2010. I had just been promoted at work. I was working a sales job. I had been promoted to trainer.
Yeah.
And it was just too soon for me to get time off. The company wasn't really big on vacation requests, right? Especially short noticed.
Yeah.
So I missed out. Justin Wong won the final Evo, right, against Sanford.
Yeah.
He beat him in grand finals. And for me, I had this feeling of missing out. I felt like I was already starting to dominate all of the local competition, but I hadn't really tested myself against the next level of guys, the Sanfords, the Smooth Vipers, Sue Mighty was already on his way out, right? Yeah. Finesse wasn't really coming around that much anymore. I had already beaten everybody from Regency, James Games. So the next level was obviously Wong, Sanford, Yipes, right?
Right.
And the only way that I was going to get to play these guys was at Evolution.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have any relationship with them where I could say, hey, I'm coming up to, I'm going to New York. You guys want to get some games in? Like, it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
Plus, they had other games that they were playing. Sanford was heavily invested in Street Fighter 4.
SF4, yep.
Right? Justin Wong was playing other games. It was just a mistiming of me not getting the days off and shit like that.
Right.
So I missed out, dude. Whatever. Now, 2010 was the year that I really got into it with Neo. And
How so?
this is a big chunk. This is a big chunk of my history because Neo was like the antithesis to Khaos. He played Santhrex, which is a team that's very, very defensive, requires pinpoint accuracy at times.
Very footsie oriented. Capitalizes a lot. High damage punishes. High damage counter hits. Fishing. A lot of fishing for hits. You don't really see as many aggressive Santhraxes, but I mean the beauty of the team is it's able to play both offense and defense if needed.
Absolutely, yeah. But he was more of a defensive player.
But he was
always
definitely
been
more defensive.
Counter. He considers his style to be Floyd Mayweather-esque, right?
Yeah.
And I was still playing MSS. I'm a one-trick pony.
Right.
I'm a one team for everything. I'm like ketchup. I go on everything, right? So we hadn't duked it out yet. I knew of him. I had heard of him, but we had never really crossed paths.
Yeah.
Him and I were on a similar path. If you're a wrestling fan and you remember The Rock versus Stone Cold at 2001, WrestleMania 17, it was like our paths were going to cross eventually. We just didn't know when. Yeah. He was making a name for himself in Bakersfield. He was beating local competition as well. He would make his way over to Family Fun Arcade, FFA, with his crew. He had his own crew, just like I did.
Yeah.
He had Vader. He had Jay Cannon, who picked Team Elan. Yeah. Vader, who would play MSP, Rotron, stuff like that. So it was almost like my version of Neo Phase, right? I had Infrit, I had Prodigy.
Yeah.
Right. So it was it was crazy because while I was playing the competition here locally, Lakewood, Granada Hills, Upland, he was trying to take out the top players from every vicinity. In not just in casuals or small money matches, he was trying to do long sets, first to 15s. He beat the likes of Dorian. I don't know if you remember Dorian.
Yeah, I remember Dorian.
He was a powerhouse combo fiend player from Regency.
Yep.
Destroyed him, right? He beat Rudy from Texas Rudy.
I think I remember seeing briefly matches of him, but I wasn't.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure who he was, but I do know that he, according to Neo, he played him in Texas. He beat him, and then he also beat Tone in the finals. He beat Tone in the finals of whatever tournament they were having out there.
Yeah.
So just like me, bro, he's crossing off people from the list, right?
Right.
And then he beats Wes.
That was
first to 15. That was a big one. I was there in person, and at the time, remember, Wes is like a brother to me now.
Yeah.
So
you guys are training together. You guys are
training together,
yeah,
and Neo does
sharing
what
tech.
he does what I couldn't do, and that was like a personal blow to me.
Yeah.
Personal blow to the ego.
Yeah.
Because when you see somebody do what you couldn't accomplish, it's kind of like, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
What am I doing wrong here? And I
makes
knew
you reevaluate yourself as a person there.
Yeah. And I knew at that moment, okay, I need to take this guy down.
Yeah.
It's time. It's time. And I don't remember how I made the call out. It was probably on SRK, but I issued the challenge. We need to do this. We ended up doing a first to 15 for $200. And it was hyped up like a mother. Everyone was talking about it because him and I came very late. We came very late into the game, right when it was already on its way out of the Evo doors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
the new games are coming out. Street Fighter 4 had come out. A big chunk of the community moved on to that.
To SF4, yes.
And then Marvel 3, which we'll get into in just a second, came out, and then even more people moved on to that.
Yeah.
So him and I were like the last of what I call the new breed.
Yeah.
At the time, I dubbed him and I as part of the new breed. And when the time came for his streak, right? He started calling it the streak. First to 15. 15 games is a lot, man.
It's a long set, and for people that have not experienced that, there's so many micro adjustments that end up being made throughout the set. At one point, you may think that you have the person fully downloaded, and then if they're a really high caliber player, they can make an adjustment and completely throw you off your game again, and it makes you reevaluate the matchup once again. So and on the top of that, obviously, with the amount of mental stress that you put yourself through, because you have to think about this for potentially almost 30 matches you could go to. So it's definitely one of those mental hurdles that you need to do. So.
A mental hurdle is a perfect way to put it. And it makes more sense now than ever why he chose the first to 15 format, which was heavily criticized back in the day. Why do you need so many games?
Yeah.
Why do you want to sit down and beat a person 15 times? And it makes more sense now than ever because the download needs to happen. And somebody needs to get it. Yeah.
Someone is going to get it.
So when beating a person in a race to 15, in my opinion, now more than ever, is more credible than beating somebody first to 3.
Yeah.
In a 3 out of 5, or even a first to 5.
I think, yeah, I agree.
And a lot of people will say, well, I mean, in a tournament format, everyone's going to have their opinion on it, whatever, but this is how I feel. And I feel like I felt this way for a while. It's just that after losing in New York, my mentality was ready for a longer set. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a reason why players like VDO, love that guy, by the way, but I'll use him as an example. He prefers the first to 3 money match format. So if you're playing for $20, he won't do more than 3 games because he knows that if it goes longer than that, he's more likely to have the opponent figure him out.
Yeah,
because his team is very
and adjust to it.
Yeah, exactly. The adjustments will be made, right?
Yeah.
But I agree with Neo that the first to 15 format, or even first to 10.
I think
First to 10, first to 15 is the way to go to determine whether one player is better than the other in that specific matchup.
Yeah.
Anywho, moving on. So Neo and I, we have our what was called the inevitable encounter. That's what the match was called by Strider Zero. Unfortunately, the video got hit with a bunch of copyright strikes, and now it's no longer on YouTube. But what I can tell you is that it was a very intense set and a very hostile environment because you had Fnatic there, you had all of the Granada Hills guys there.
Yeah.
And majority of them were going for Neo. So I got to hear all the flack and all the trash talk and all that. And Neo pulls away with 15 wins to my 11 wins. So it wasn't a blowout by any means.
Yeah.
But I could have done way better. Okay. Now, Neo, at this time, he had very close relations with a lot of the top players, including Fnatic, which, as much of a dirtbag as he is, right, was still a great asset in terms of being a training partner. Now, on my side, like Infrit and Prodigy, although they were good players, they weren't anywhere close to where I was. So steel sharpens steel, right?
Right.
Unfortunately, I didn't have anybody to really train against. I had Wes, but at the time, Wes was not really, he wasn't really into the game, and he was doing other things. So I didn't really have a training partner or training partners to kind of prepare me for this. And my stick was already on its last legs. I had to beat up old Moss. It was just whatever. Anyway, so I had to take that L. What really kind of did me in afterwards was that Neo went on to cement his legacy even further. I was kind of left in the dust, right?
Right.
I had to take another big L. First to Wes, now to Neo. And Neo, let's go over his accolades. He got top 5 at Seasons Beatings 4, 2009, and Seasons Beatings Redemption in 2010.
Yes, he did.
He was part of the winning team, the Team West Coast against Speed and Violence,
remember that.
Which
Is
had
it still on YouTube?
which had Yipes. Who was it? Yipes, Desmond,
Yeah,
and Sanford,
in Sanford.
right?
Yep.
He won the Tournament of Champions.
I believe he had Chris Schmidt, Fnatic, and
it was just him.
Neo?
Yeah, them three.
Yeah.
And then he won the Tournament of Champions. He beat Chris Schmidt in the finals.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. He did.
Not to mention that after beating me, he went on to beat Black Juan. He beat Dara Project. I mean, he destroyed Dara, right? And then he beat Sue Mighty in a landslide victory. So he did a bunch of he was on a tear, right?
Yep.
And inside I was just, fuck, that should be me.
Yeah.
That should be my legacy. That should be my list of accomplishments. And because of my situation outside of the game, I mean, I had to take care of business. I had to deal with work and stuff going on at home and my relationship. And, you know, I had to prioritize other things, and I couldn't get into fixing my stick. Like, it was just a laundry list of things that kind of held me back a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
But later on in 2011, I ended up beating him in first to 10. Like, we did a first to 5 for money, and then we ran it back, and I beat him both sets.
Can you speak as to like where this took place? And
This was at Family Fun.
Okay.
Family Fun.
FFA.
So him and I, we played, and it was just us. And I mean, it doesn't hold as much weight as, I guess, the first to 15, right?
Right.
But for my own personal satisfaction, knowing that I could take sets off of him, that's all I need, right?
Yeah.
So the wins are subjective depending on whether you're on my side or whether you're on Neo's side.
That's true.
But the fact was, I was able to take sets off of him. He's a great competitor, bro. Very solid mentality. When he's on
very
it,
passionate about the game.
He's passionate about the game, and when he's on it, bro, it's very difficult to stop him.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting to see if we see him again in top form, because when he's around, when he's not commentating, he'll play. He'll sit down on the sticks and he'll play.
Yeah.
I mean, recently he pimp slapped Servbot. I'm not sure if he beat Roundhouse at Texas Showdown. He beat quite a few guys.
I think it. I don't remember.
I don't know. You guys are gonna have to clear that up in the comments, but I know that he definitely got some wins at Texas Showdown. But anyway, moving on. Shout outs to Neo, bro. Thanks for being a great opponent. Definitely somebody that I would call a rival back in the 2010 days.
Sure.
And he's a great friend today. So shout outs to that guy. Moving on to 2011, Marvel vs. Capcom 3 comes out. 11 years later, a sequel to Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And we fucking hate it.
It was
right?
Absolutely abysmal, Ken.
Well, when I say we, I mean,
I would say like the
vast majority.
Yeah.
Well, if you were somebody that was ready for a new opportunity, if you felt like you couldn't really scratch the upper echelon of the competition
of Marvel 2,
then I mean, if I was in your shoes, I would do the same thing. Yeah. I would switch to a new game.
This was a great opportunity for you to to put your foot down in a new and reset, right? Start all over. Everybody has a level playing field. You wouldn't have to deal with the Shark Tank that is MVC2.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So.
And you know what? I wasn't one of those people. I felt like I was so close, man. I was so close. I still hadn't tested myself against the toughest of competition, and I couldn't leave, bro. I could not leave Marvel 2. I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
I felt like I had unfinished business, so I said, fuck Marvel 3.
Yep.
I think I bought it at GameStop, like when it was on clearance, right? Yeah. Ultimate had already came out. They came out with less than a year after this game's release. They released a new version called Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
And they patched the DHC glitch that was happening.
And they did. Okay, so this is another thing, the patches, all right? For those of you that are not familiar with that term, okay, majority of the games nowadays...
Something I don't agree with, by the way.
Yeah, majority of the games nowadays can be played online. Now, because there's online capability, the developers now are able to introduce what are called patches, and that means that if the game has a glitch
or an exploit,
right, they can go in and force you to update the software or update the data, the memory of the game.
Yeah.
So whatever you were used to before, whatever moves were working for you, guess what?
They could change all sorts of things: the frame data, the type of damage scaling. Obviously glitches and exploits to the point where it's gonna seriously change and reevaluate the way that you played the game, especially if your team was kind of built around those exploits and DHC glitches that was happening at the time.
So imagine taking away the Sentinel Unblockable from Marvel 2.
Yeah.
Or taking away Magneto's ability to do the ROM.
Yeah, let's
the
say
Infinite.
like you can't do the ROM, or the ROM no longer connects. That's a huge
it's
game
huge.
changer.
It's huge, yeah. So a lot of players were upset over this because if what you were doing was working for you and it was winning you tournaments, and now guess what? They fix it, they patch it, and now it doesn't. Guess what? Now it's affecting your pocket.
Right.
I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
Now I have to relearn the game. It was just a big mess, and everybody just had to shut up and take it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was what it was. So I couldn't do Marvel 3, bro. But lucky for me, I was able to obtain an Xbox 360. 6 years after the console had came out, right? It came out in 2005.
Right.
I finally got my hands on an Xbox 360, and now I'm playing Xbox Live. So
yeah, I remember when I first got the 360. I mean, all we were playing is Halo 3. But anyway, up until
Halo 3, I heard Halo 2 was the best version.
Halo 2 was it's just legendary, and then Halo 3 just kind of took it after that in terms of like just how big it kind of got after that. But anyway, Xbox Live ends up getting MVC2
I have Xbox Live now. So because my stick was only for Dreamcast, they didn't have American sticks for the newer generation consoles.
Right.
So I had to get my hands on a Japanese stick. And if you guys know what I'm talking about, it's like apples and oranges. You're learning on a brand new set of hardware, different buttons, different stick, different feel.
Yep.
And it's like starting from scratch.
Yep.
Plus, the online version was way different.
Yes, it was.
Well, I mean, different in certain nuances of character gameplay and the way that they move and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In high level situations, it makes all the difference, right?
Yes, it does.
Plus, your connection with your opponent, if it's great, if it's a little wonky. I mean, I think my biggest gripe was that everyone took their wins and losses seriously.
Yeah.
So if you had Joe Schmo, some schmuck from the fucking Midwest who would beat me a couple matches in a row, they would say, "Oh, Khaos is trash. Oh, I beat him." Like recently, some dirtbag said that he took like a 10-year layoff or something like that, and then he came back and he beat me a couple matches, and now he's like, "Oh, I still got it." That's not how this works, bro.
See me offline.
See me, yeah. Everyone would say, "Yeah, I would send a message real quick. It would take me 5 minutes to send it because of the controller." Tick, 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 tick. Yeah, see me offline. I did realize that the differences were evident when I would switch back to Dreamcast. Because remember, it's 2011. The arcade scene at this point is dying because of the online game format.
Yeah.
It's becoming a lot more tolerable. If you're playing Street Fighter, if you're playing Guilty Gear, if you're playing Marvel 3, Marvel 2, it's starting to become more accepting in the community.
Yep.
So if I'm a guy that lives an hour away from the local arcade, do I want to drive an hour?
And we talked about this in the podcast with Lockdown.
Yeah. Do I want to drive an hour, or do I want to stay home and just lounge in my fucking Fruit of the Looms and, a big fucking can of Monster and just get some games in with competition from all across the United States. So a lot of people were for it, and some of the older heads were like, "This is terrible. This is like the nail in the coffin for the arcades."
Yeah, for the purists.
So around that time, I started visiting the arcade less and less. Unless I knew there was going to be some get together, you know.
Yeah.
I would stay in a lot more often now because of the online capability.
Convenience.
Now, speaking of convenience, okay, Evo 2011 comes along, and guess who got their days approved to go? Your boy finally got time off. I go to Evo 2011 not knowing what to expect.
Thank God for PTO.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, this was the first year that Marvel 2 was bumped off, right? Because Marvel 3 was
That's right.
was in.
Yep.
So I don't know what to expect. I just took my joystick and let's see what happens. Luckily for me, I did find some opponents to play against. I played against Cable Guy. Cable Guy was a NorCal cable player, hence his name, Cable Guy.
That trained with the likes of Chunksta.
Yeah.
As well as, I believe, Crizzle?
Chunksta, Crizzle, Corngo,
Oh, yeah.
all those guys up, Anthony's, all those guys up north.
Yep.
So he was my very first test, right? My very first test in playing a high-level player that wasn't within the LA, Orange County area. It was a very big milestone for me. I felt like, oh my God, this is it. I'm ready. I'm ready to, test myself.
Yeah.
And he gave me a really good fight. I thought that at that time I had all the answers, and he put me in situations that made me really dig deep, and I had to execute, man. I really had to dig deep to get the win against him.
Yeah.
So I beat him in the first 10, right?
Right.
Chunksta comes along. Okay, for those of you guys that know Chunksta, this guy was a monster back then. Former second place at Evo 2008, I believe, against Justin Wong.
Yep. One of the best Sentinels that I've seen personally.
One of the best Sentinels, one of the best MSS players.
MSS Rocket Punch.
Yeah, this guy was a monster. So I went up to him and I said, "Hey, man."
Chunksta had a fucking badass Thrax too, man.
He did, bro. And I told him straight up, "Hey, I'd really love to play you." And he said, "Oh yeah, for sure." We did a first to 10 for 50.
Yeah.
And I beat him. And
wow.
it was one of the most exhausting sets that I've ever had. And it was razor thin. Like I think it might have been like 10-8 or 10-9. And immediately
down to the wire, man.
Immediately he wants a run back. But he says, "You know what? I don't have that much time. Let's do a first to 5 for that 50." And he beats me 5-4. So now we're even, right?
Yeah.
We're even. So classic example of, okay, I only have 5 games to figure him out, right?
Yeah.
We already ran the first set, but what would have happened if we ran those additional 5 games? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
But that's my fault for saying yes. I should have said, you know what? No, if we're gonna run it back, it's got to be the same thing. But whatever. I was just grateful to
be able to
have the time of day,
yeah,
or for him give me the time of day to play a set with me.
Yeah.
And we broke even. What bothered me after was that he said, "Hey, good games. I wasn't really playing like myself. I pretty much lost to myself."
Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, it was good games and all, but he kind of gave me that backhanded, like, I pretty much lost to myself. I wasn't really, like, my execution wasn't.
Like, you didn't really beat me.
Yeah, you didn't really beat me. So I took it for what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't want to hold your L's, either way, you got to hold your L's, right?
Everyone does.
You got to do it gracefully, or you got to be salty.
Everyone does
whatever
it
you want to do.
Different way. It's fine.
So anyway, I played him. The next big match. So that was Evo, right? At that Evo, I reconnected with Ray Spartan, and him and I at that point, we that's when we ended up getting a lot closer and all that. So
awesome,
a lot of good things that came out of that evolution. That was my first experience seeing the main stage and all that. It's everything that I wanted. It was just too late. Marvel 2 was no longer on the main stage, right?
Right. That's right.
So the question was, is everything that I'm doing, does it really matter? All these guys like Chunksta, he wasn't in the shape that he was back in 2008, right?
Yeah.
Cable Guy, I mean, whatever. It's like riding a bike. But I had to deal with that on a daily basis. is what I'm doing, is it worth it at this point?
Yeah.
But I decided that, hey, I still love the game. I still have things that I feel I need to accomplish.
Yeah. You still had, you know.
The work never stops. The training never stops.
Absolutely not.
So I kept on pushing. My next opponent after that was Reset. Now, if you guys remember episode 1, Reset used to give me a lot of shit, dude.
Yes, he did.
He used to give me a lot of shit. He used to say that I was a one-trick pony, which he was right, because I only messed around with MSS. I didn't have a Santhrax team. I didn't have a secondary team. I couldn't get away from MSS, whether it was Rocket Punch or drones. That was my team, and if I couldn't beat you with it, then
it's just
that's just it.
Yeah,
that's just it. Yeah. So it came about that him and I were going to do a first to 10 at Super Arcade. This was back when Super Arcade was in the city of Walnut. I don't know if you remember.
No, I remember.
Yeah. So we set it up. It's a first to 10 for $100. Okay. Now, there's a little bit of controversy over this that I didn't find out until years later.
Please do tell.
Okay. So we play first to 10, and I'm up 9 wins to 5. And he ends up streaking. He gets 5 straight wins.
Wow.
And he beats me 10-9. So now, in a big match setup, in a big match venue, I guess you could say, I've lost to Wes, I've lost to Neo, and I've lost to Reset, right? Big money matches. I've won a bunch of other small ones. I won a bunch of local tournaments, right?
Yeah.
At Regency, at FFA, at James Games. But in a long match situation, I'm losing. And it's because the opponent is figuring me out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So I remember one of my buddies, Mondo, he went to go watch. He went to go watch, and I lost, right? I lost, and he was like, all right, man, I got to go. I got to head out of here. Because it was kind of like, this is, all right, well, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't want to hang out there either, right?
Right.
So he booked it, and I just felt, dude, what the hell, man? And there was a lot of smack talk and a lot of, I'm not the same guy that I was years ago.
Of course.
So here's the controversy, okay? I won't say who, but I come to find out that allegedly, I should say this for legal purposes, okay, that he showed up with $100 in fake money.
In counterfeit money? Why?
Counterfeit money. So if I would have won the set, I would have been paid in counterfeit money. So your boy was in
scummy, man.
Your boy, how true this is? I mean, that's why I say allegedly.
This is allegedly, right?
This is allegedly.
I don't know. So,
but your boy was in a lose-lose situation with this. Okay. Reset disappears. He disappears after this. I don't hear about him in like maybe 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
So no run back, nothing. I have to hold the L until in recent years. Anywho, the rest of 2011 is, since the arcade scene is dying, the only arcade that's relatively active is Alex's Arcade.
In Santa Ana,
which
California.
You know very well, buddy.
I love that place, man. That was actually one of my
tell the audience about Alex's Arcade.
So Alex's Arcade is located Santa Ana, California. It's kind of like in this corner where parking lot where I think it's next to like a coffee shop place, right? Cafe Lou. A lot of Asian people would go there, but anyway, yeah, and it's just kind of like this, kind of rundown arcade. It has a cabinet for MVCs. It has 2 cabinets. One of them being the one with the showcase style, and then the smaller MVCU cabinet. So a lot of people preferred the smaller one just because the sticks were better on that one. It had a Third Strike setup, and a little just other random games on there, but it was just very localized. I met a lot of the players from my area there. So shout outs to everyone. You know, obviously Oscar, Aldo, Gustavo, Dewey, Andy Dew. I mean, that's our roots right there, and they really welcomed me in. So I just want to say thank you and shout outs to them because I have nothing but love for them.
Absolutely. I used to run down Alex's Arcade a lot.
Yeah.
That was just, I never saw them as, like, from a competitive standpoint, I never saw them as a threat, which is why I always considered them to be beneath me. As individuals, as people, dude, they're great.
Yeah.
Great guys. I always liked the fact that they were a very close-knit community.
Yeah, I did too.
They'd have barbecues, they'd have sessions.
Yeah.
Everybody was really cool. I mean, of course, you talk trash amongst yourselves.
Yeah,
but
of course. But it was
these
all in
guys,
good fun. They were,
yeah,
you know,
and even till today.
yeah.
I mean, even with the pandemic and all that,
Yeah.
a lot of these guys are still hanging out. They're still very close with each other.
It's awesome.
So it's something that you like to see in terms of a community.
Yeah.
So shout outs to those guys. Gustavo,
Oscar.
amazing Sentinel, dude. Amazing Sentinel. Right now, he holds the record for the longest Sentinel combo with an assist and longest without one. So I put out videos with the record. He broke the record, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't put up the videos yet, but right now he holds the record for that. So he definitely has the execution.
Absolutely, man.
I
The
would
guy's an
love-
execution monster.
I would love to see him against the East Coast guys, but I mean, certain, life is life. You got to
Yeah.
take care of business.
I would
and
love to see Gus go up against
I'd love
him
to
too,
see it,
man.
bro.
I-
Andy Doom right now is putting in that work online and offline.
Yep.
He leveled up a lot.
he did.
Yeah, so it's good to see that a lot of these guys are still active,
Yeah.
and they're still putting on a show for the community.
Yeah.
Shout outs to these guys.
And also Dewey in his own right too is a beast as well.
He
man.
is,
That
man.
guy-
He's a little rusty right now, but
right, but I mean, when he was in top form, I mean, the stuff that he would do was
Absolutely,
amazing.
yeah. So at the time, Alex's Arcade, I didn't know who these guys were.
Yeah.
I just knew that Ray was in there also. Ray had kind of found his
That's where I met Ray.
his niche. Yeah, in Alex's Arcade.
Mhm.
And I think it was a tie between him and I think Daniel Deathwish.
Yeah.
They held the top two spots. And I challenged Daniel to a money match.
Yeah.
We'll just do first to 7 for 50. And I remember showing up and dude, I smashed him 7-1, I believe, or 7-2.
Yeah.
And midway through the set, he asked me straight up, he said, "So why did you challenge the Arcade?" Nobody's ever asked me that before. Like, why did you call us out, or why did you call me out? Nobody's ever asked me that before. And I said, I just want to see where I'm at in terms of competition. Like a few matches in, it was very evident that I was leagues above them in skill.
Yeah.
Gustavo gave me a really good run for the money
Yeah.
because he had Psylocke on his team.
Yeah.
And remember, I'm still running MSS. So all it takes is for Psylocke to land one hit.
Yep.
And
It starts to go the other way.
it might be over.
Yep.
It might be curtains. So he was always a threat. Everyone else, they didn't really give me problems. I mean, Kala was still learning how to play Sentinel, Cable, and all that.
Yeah. Scrub Clops.
Aldo, gimmicks. He had gimmicks. His Akuma team. That's pretty much it. Oscar,
Plays Combo Fiend.
Combo Fiend. He was pretty good execution.
No, he did. He has a really good storm too.
Yeah. So 2011, that's it, man. That's all I did. It's just Regency was already dying down. FFA was dying down. All these guys were moving on to online gameplay. And who can blame him, right?
Yeah.
If you could just stay home and play, then why wouldn't you just do that instead of wasting gas and wasting quarters? Now, Evo 2012 comes around. The only thing that happened in 2012 was that I went to Evo. And I wasn't even planning on going. Because remember, there's no side tournament for Marvel 2. It's not on the main stage. I get a call from Daryl, World Matchu. He says, "Hey, how do you feel about playing Justin Wong at Evo?"
What?
And
This is huge.
this is
dude.
huge. This is on a Saturday, and I work. I'm off at 4.
Yeah.
He says, but it's got to be tonight. And I'm thinking, fuck. Am I really going to go to Vegas for one day and then come back on Sunday? And he said, I'll pick you up. We'll go. We'll run this match, and then we'll come back Sunday.
That's fucking awesome.
And I was pacing back and forth, man, at work. I was pacing back and forth thinking about it. Oh my God, this is it. We go. I said, fuck it, let's go. He picks me up. I pack my bag. We go. Awesome. Dude, it's like 5. We don't get there till 11, midnight, something like that.
Yeah.
Justin Wong is nowhere to be found. He had gone out to eat. He was I think he won. He didn't win Marvel 3. He won Street, like Tatsunoko or some shit like that.
Oh, Tatsunoko, really?
Yeah, he was celebrating something.
It wasn't SF4, that's for sure.
No,
it was something else.
He won something else, and he was celebrating. So he said, "I'll be back," and then he never showed up. So guess who filled in for him? Neo.
Oh.
So Neo and I ran an impromptu 1st to 7. And people were Daryl was side betting and shit like that. It wasn't for money.
This was on the Sony mounted on the TV.
This was on a TV, right? a Sony mounted TV, right? Yeah. So to give you guys,
I remember the commentary on this. Okay, hilarious, man.
To give you guys a quick backstory for those of you listening, okay. Remember, we love to play Marvel 2 on the Sega Dreamcast, ancient fucking technology.
On a CRT.
On a CRT TV. Now, these are the old school TVs, the boxes with the big ass in the back. Yeah. Okay, now if you plug that Dreamcast into a plasma TV or a newer LCD or something like that, you're going to have what's called input delay.
Correct.
Which means if I hit a button, it's not going to come out right away.
The amount of time that it takes for it to register on the screen is much longer. And when we say much longer, I mean, being a high caliber player, you can feel nuances and you can feel even the slightest like millisecond of delay. So it's a big difference when you're going from a CRT with basically zero input delay into a plasma that has to basically process your inputs and then show it to you on the screen. So it makes a difference, especially in execution.
It definitely does. So I had to make the adjustment. Neo was not ready at all.
Yeah.
Now remember, he's not playing Marvel 2. He's focused on Marvel 3.
Yeah.
But he still decides to play. It's 7-0, me.
Wow. Is this one still on YouTube?
It's still on YouTube.
I believe
it's still on YouTube, but remember, it was impromptu, and we're running it on a fucking trash TV.
On a trash setup, input delay,
yeah.
Yeah.
So
and Neo's not really obviously was like you said, he was playing MVC3 at the time.
And that's all the action I had. Wow. That Evo. So we drove out there, and Justin Wong never showed up. We drove out there for nothing, just to run a trash set on a TV.
Wow.
That's all I can say about Evo, man. I came back. I think we came back the same night or Sunday, and that was it, bro. What a waste! What a waste of a trip.
That's fucking horrible, man.
So you can imagine the disappointment, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Being ready to test yourself against the elite, and nothing happens.
Wow.
Anywho, the rest of the year is just online gameplay. I did develop a couple of new rivalries with Golden Nismore. If you guys know Golden Nismore, that guy he's from Hawaii.
From Hawaii, yep.
That guy loves to talk shit, and that's an understatement. This guy he gets personal with it too. He rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
Yeah.
And if you meet him in real life, I've never met him, but I hear that he's just completely different. I think it's the fact that he's all the way over there.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but he would troll the shit out of me. So I had a lot of
people too.
Yeah, I had a lot of back and forth with that guy online. And then and because of the online platform, a lot of players from Mexico started stepping up too. A lot of the top players like Cachorro, Pollo, a few other players were starting to kind of make their names known.
Yeah.
And I was starting to see that, hey, these guys are pretty good. And then I started noticing a trend. I started noticing that they were hitting me with my own moves. It's when you get hit with your own moves.
You talked about this last time. It's one of the things that you said bothers you the most.
It kind of bothers me, bro. It kind of bothers me when I get hit with my own moves. I can understand that it's like, hey, I know how to do this too,
Except when you did that to Josh during one of the Evo finals, and Telly goes like,
"We got those two.
Yeah.
We got those two.
How you gonna do his combo to him? How you gonna do his combo to him?"
It's like, dude, you know, come up with your own fucking moves, man. Don't give me that attitude, or I'm doing it all for you. But so I was playing online, dude, and so if you notice, there's a trend going on, dude. 2011, 2012, nothing's really happening. Nothing's really happening. I'm kind of like in Marvel limbo.
Yeah.
Where I'm just playing online, and you know, work outside of the game, work is work. You know, there's nothing really going on. I'm no longer hanging out with Carlos, Infrit, or Prodigy. They moved on to Street Fighter 4 and Marvel 3. So everything's just kind of disbanding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what it felt like.
I'm kind of feeling like I've hit a plateau when it comes to the game. Now, 2013. This is where everything changes.
Yeah, this is a big
Everything changes. Okay, we're going to talk about some real shit here. Okay, because this is the year that I start traveling with Ray, with Spartan.
Yep.
To Evo. We get to Evo, and as I'm walking inside the venue, the first person that I run into was Sanford Kelly, one of the Titans from the East Coast. And I say what's up to him. I introduce myself. Hey, man, I'm a big fan. I respect what you've done.
Yep.
I need to get a set with you. And he's no hesitation. He says, "Oh yeah, we're gonna get some. Yeah, we're gonna get some games in.
Love that.
And say what you want about him, but he's one of the guys that's always down to play.
Yep. Regardless of what happens, he's always just down to run a set.
Yeah, you just have to put up with what he says afterwards.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, like I said, it happens to all of us, right? Everyone deals with things a different way. But like I said, deep down, Sanford is a competitor, and I have to respect that. As well as, you know, you heard it from Locke himself. Locke was, you know, singing praises about Sanford and the type of person that he is. And, you know, he's great in the sense, too, where, like, he actually will give you tips and how to improve him and things that he sees. And, like, that's just awesome to be able to have that kind of feedback from such a high caliber player.
So he doesn't enter the side tournament. This is the first year that we have a side tournament for Marvel's Capcom 2. We finally said, hey, you know what? If we're going to show up, we got to do something for the community. So we had a tournament. Now, before we get into Sanford, we need to address Mr. Pasadena. Okay. Top level MSP, Magneto Storm Psylocke player from the Valley.
Yep.
And he was one of the OG players that never stopped. And he was always kind of lurking in the shadows.
Yeah.
He never really attracted attention to himself, but he was one of the guys that didn't give up the game. He kept on playing.
Yeah.
And he was always a formidable threat.
Yes.
Against me.
I agree.
He's given me my fair share of losses over the years, including Evo 2013. I lost to him in the grand finals. Okay?
Yep.
Now, we did the tournament during the day, right?
Yep.
I'm still running MSS. I don't have an answer for MSP. I have no Santhrax. I have no other team to fight that anti-air assist that he had.
Yeah.
Psylocke. So he knows what to do to get the win against me. And he knocks me out of winners. Now, we don't finish the tournament. Remember, it's double elimination.
Yeah.
We don't finish the tournament that day. It's already too late. The venue's going to close. So we save it for the next day. It's time. It's time to play Sanford. The match is set up at Charlie Goblin's hotel suite.
Yep.
So I get there. I'm warming up. I'm playing against Charlie Goblin. I'm playing against Ray. Just trying to stay warm. A bunch of guys come in. Fanatics there. Neo's in there. Chris G. just a bunch of random members of the community.
Even people like from the SF4 community.
Yeah, from Street Fighter 4,
Yeah,
they came in to watch because they heard it's Khaos versus Sanford.
Yeah,
and that was what was trending in the community.
Buzz. Yeah, that was happening.
Yeah.
Yep.
So World Match U's there too. Telly's there, Ray's there.
Yep.
Now, this is where it gets a little crazy. So bear with me, okay? Daryl is having a little too much to drink. All right. So if you know Daryl, you know that this guy is loud as fuck when he gets riled up.
Yeah.
So
about him,
I'm not worried about that. I'm just nervous as fuck because I'm about to play. This is what I wanted.
Yeah.
For years, I was saying, I've taken care of the local competition. I've ascended. It's time. It's time to test myself. Sanford comes in, sits down, plugs in his stick. He wishes me good luck.
Awesome.
And we start playing.
Yeah.
I get the early lead. I feel like I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Everything is coming out crisp.
Yeah.
My movement is
on point.
Impeccable.
Yeah.
My spacing, everything that I'm doing is coming together. It's fluid. And Sanford is, because it was all speed based. Yeah. So Sanford was trying to adjust to the speed and the movement. And remember, he's not really playing Marvel 2. He's been solely invested in
SF4.
SF4.
Yeah.
Right?
It was.
So I take the early lead. Daryl is talking hella shit in the background.
So much so that the YouTube comments actually believe that that's you.
Yes. If you watch the video, they'll say, damn, Khaos really loves to talk some shit.
Yeah.
And it wasn't me. It was Daryl. And you can hear Charlie Goblin in the back telling him, Daryl, hey, Daryl, you got to be quiet, man. Because, all it takes is one noise complaint and everything gets shut down.
Yeah.
And Daryl can't help himself. And he's just like, shut up.
It's popping off.
Yeah, this and that. And then Fnatic starts kind of voicing his opinion, right?
Right.
And Daryl and him are just kind of going back and forth with the trash talk. Fnatic is saying that I'm not good enough. I'm this and that. And then I've had enough. And I pop off against Fnatic and I tell him to shut the fuck up. I said, no, you wouldn't do. He was saying something along the lines of, I would train for one day and then I would bop him. And I said, no, you wouldn't. You insert explicit insult. And everybody was like, oh, Khaos is popping off. Because dude, I'm trying to play here. Sanford and I didn't wage any money.
Yeah.
This was pure passion,
for
the love of the game, yeah. And I ended up winning that set 10-5, I believe, or 10-6.
I think it was 10-6.
10-6, right?
Yeah.
Here's what happens next. Sanford wants an immediate run back. Okay, now this is after the cameras have stopped rolling.
Yeah.
Actually, the cameras are still rolling. We run the setback. If you've ever run a first to 10, which I'm sure most of you had, when you do a run back, the winner tends to be a little bit more, the adrenaline is gone, right?
Yeah. That's right.
So the challenger is the one that's, yeah.
Kind of like started like
the challenger is the one that's imposing his will on you now.
Yeah.
So I feel like I wasn't ready for a run back. I felt like I was like Goku.
You had an adrenaline dump.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
So we start playing, and guess what? Now we're like neck and neck, match for match for match for match. The score gets to be 5-4. I'm up one game. And Daryl is louder than ever. To the point where Sanford finally stops. And he turns around and he tells Daryl, he says, I swear to God, if you keep running your mouth, I'm going to crack you in the fucking face. And Daryl he's out of it, man. He's out of it. So he's like, oh, yeah, do something about it. And before you know it, we have to, long story short, we had to split them up. The set came to a screeching halt, and Sanford has to leave. They take Sanford out of the room. Daryl, they put him on the other side of the room. And I'm just like, shit, man. Well, that's kind of a shame.
Yeah.
So Sanford and I never got to finish that set. Strider Zero never uploaded it. He wiped it clean. I mean, why would he, right?
Right.
Yeah, the community doesn't need that kind of stuff, but that's what happened. And unfortunately, it happens every so often. I mean, I'm sure Daryl didn't mean to do that, and he hasn't done anything like that since then.
Yeah.
But we all have our moments.
Yeah.
You know, we're a little outlandish and alcohol and all that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you take into consideration the first 10 that we did, that Sanford and I did, I beat him.
Yeah.
I beat him, and I was happy with that. I thought, holy shit. A few years ago, I thought that I would never be able to touch these guys.
Right.
I was at my local arcade thinking, damn, I'm just a minnow in the ocean.
Yep.
And now I'm a big fish in a small pond.
So what? In like retrospect, like I'm thinking about it right now. I think it really put you on the map even more because it's like you're just being such a big name, right? Like Sanford carries such a big like reputation, and for you to be able to beat him in a set, I mean that said a lot about you. So I think a lot of people, you turned a lot of heads, like as if you didn't already, right? If they didn't know about you then, they sure know now.
As I said in the video, right?
Yeah.
Now, everybody, all of the old school players came to the defense of Sanford.
Yeah, and
now I feel like
understandably.
it doesn't take anything away from him because his legacy had already been set in stone. His wins, his tournament wins, whatever.
Cemented.
What I hold a lot of respect for is the fact that he is willing to play.
Yeah.
Where a lot of other guys
would have
take the coward approach and don't want to risk their legacy or whatever the case is when really you have nothing to lose. You've already done what you need to do.
Yeah.
Just like me at this point.
Yeah. Like nothing can take away those accolades that you've already accomplished, you know, regardless. So
now what happens next? Justin Wong. I've got his attention. He publicly calls me out. He feels like what I did to Sanford was very disrespectful.
Yeah.
He feels like it was a very hostile environment, and he needs to wrong that right. So we set the date for SoCal Regionals. UC Irvine, 2014, March. This is not in a hotel room. This is not in an evil ballroom. This is at the main stage.
Yep.
It's my first time in the spotlight. Interviews, there were pre-match interviews. There was a whole production vignette, filmed for this.
Yeah.
I finally did it. I felt like, all right, man, it's showtime. It's showtime.
You Arnold.
And oh man, the buzz around it was that I was going to get destroyed. People were placing side bets and all this, and people that I consider to be good friends, close friends, were side betting against me. And it's not, I guess, in retrospect, I shouldn't have taken it personally. It's just, I wasn't the favorite. I wasn't the favorite to win, right?
Yeah.
Experience over flash.
Yeah.
That's what they were saying.
Yeah.
I'm not ready for it. I don't have the experience. I'm too flashy. I don't have the fundamentals, right?
That was always a criticism that you hear.
It was, man. And I was like, it was almost like Chaotic One was coming back.
Yeah. Because
every moment where I received that criticism online, I felt like I had to step in to correct them.
Yeah.
And I would just say, oh, you doubt me? Just watch. Watch what happens. I'm going to destroy this guy. So we had months and months of buildup, right?
Yeah.
That day, I believe it was on a Saturday, the day of the exhibition, and I worked that day.
I remember.
And I worked out of Santa Ana at the time, so I left work and I drove right over there in my work clothes. So if you watch the video, I'm wearing slacks, I'm wearing a dress shirt, tie clip, and we run the match. And bro, it was crazy to see that this time the crowd wasn't as divided. I had a portion of the chaos section, I guess you could say, people that were like, chaos, chaos. Daryl made T-shirts. He made T-shirts that said Team Chaos, and he was passing them out. Dude, that was, he didn't have to do that, man.
That's one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, love that guy.
Yeah.
And even though I cost him a lot of money because of the match.
I'm sure it did.
Yeah, and I'm playing Justin, and I didn't know that he had trained with Bill Wellman, a name that I hadn't even thought of in years because he disappeared from the Marvel community.
Yeah.
And he trained with Bill Wellman, MSS Drones. So he was ready. Justin already knew about the modified air dash. He knew about MSS Drones, obviously, and he was ready. So when he started, when we played, and he started getting win after win after win, it was very demoralizing because I'm used to my matches ending like this.
Right.
I'm either going to beat you quickly or I'm going to lose quickly. And he was just finding the spot to punish my movement.
Yeah.
And it was pissing me off, man. What I didn't expect was for my family to show up. My brother and my padrino, Caesar.
Wow.
My brother pushed his way through the crowd, and I heard, Kenneth. And I looked over to my left, and I saw him, and he's like, get his ass. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing here, man? Get back there. But the chaos section was all the way to my right, and all the Justin supporters were right behind me, so I could hear them saying, you don't got it. It's...
Okay, can we clear that up? Why was the audience...
I have no idea,
on that
man.
side? You know, I heard things, you know, along the lines of it being intentional, it being that way.
I have no idea, bro.
But
I have no idea, but it's just something that I had to put up with.
Yeah.
Now,
that's fun.
Here's another thing. I've been playing so much online that now my execution is more favorable on the Japanese stick.
Yeah.
So switching back to the Moss, the American stick, just for the Dreamcast, it affected me. I had to adjust on the fly because I was so used to playing on the Japanese stick.
Yeah.
I mean, everything was working great. It's just you're used to muscle memory. Right? I lose that set 10-4. It was hyped up as the new generation versus the old guard. And Justin Wong beat me decisively. Once again, I lose on the main stage.
Yeah.
It's tough, man.
This one.
It's tough when you have people saying, I told you so. Or people saying, see, he wasn't that good. It's a very tough thing to... I mean, I accept the loss. He just played better than me. That's all there is to it.
Yep.
I still wanted more. I wasn't one to be like, all right, well, I guess that's it. To this day, I still haven't watched that set.
Really?
I haven't watched that set to this day.
Wow.
It's very difficult to watch yourself lose and hear the crowd cheering in the back.
Yeah.
It's tough, man. But what I did take away was what not to do. Once again, I learn from my mistakes, I correct them, and I implement a new game plan moving forward. That's what you should do as a player.
Absolutely.
I'm willing to take the loss to learn. I just couldn't get over the fact that an opportunity to play Justin again wouldn't come up again until years later.
Yeah.
Like in a legit set.
Right.
So that was in March. Okay, fast forward to EVO 2014. This was a pretty stacked tournament.
This one was, yes.
Chris Schmidt, well, a shadow of himself, he entered. A lot of the East Coast guys came through. Josh 360, Sanford. We had a bunch of the West Coast killers. Lockdown was in there. Ray was in there. And I made it to the grand finals against none other than Sanford. after coming back from losers, I almost lost to Josh 360. Losers finals.
This was one of the hypest sets
Oh,
between
man.
you and Josh.
Yeah. That
Hey,
could have.
this is the set also that, I mean, it was close, man, because I think Josh would have he had gotten a perfect.
Yeah.
And then ran it again, and then he had a perfect because he hits a really, really strong opener.
Yep.
And the thing with Combo Fiend is that it allows him to basically go into the Iron Man Infinite, guard break, and it won't let you play. If played properly and he executes exactly what he needs to, you won't get to play.
Yeah.
But man, that
Dude,
comeback,
it's nerve-wracking, bro.
Yeah.
But I did hit the comeback.
Yes, you did.
Last minute maneuver to beat his team. I think I hit
With just a solo set.
Yeah, I hit a crouching sweep onto his Iron Man, and he just so happened to be blocking upwards.
Yeah, standing basically.
Yeah. Rocket Punch, Hyper Sentinel Force, Magneto comes in, I hit the unblockable laser. That's all
That
she
was
wrote.
clutch.
That's all she wrote.
And then it was Cent versus Cent at that point.
No, it was a different match.
Oh, it's a different match?
Yeah.
Okay.
I beat his Iron Man, and then Magneto came in. I just hit unblockable Rocket Punch Super, and that was it.
That's such a clutch.
And everybody went crazy. So now Grand Finals is first to 5, and I have to win 2 sets against Sanford.
Yeah.
So the score ended up being like 10-2 me, or 10-4, something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember the last few seconds of that final match, I felt this feeling of, like, it was almost like anger. And I remember saying, it's my time. This is it. This is my time.
Yeah.
And I hit the winning hit on Sanford. Everybody goes crazy. Sanford gets up. He walks away. No handshake.
Yeah.
And everybody's giving me high fives, fist bumps, all this and that. Sanford comes back. He gives me a hug.
Yeah.
And I felt I finally did it. Yeah. Pasadena got me the year before. This year, I actually took him. I think I sent him to losers, or I took him out of the tournament.
Good.
And
can we address something real quick?
Yeah.
Because Sanford is known getting a lot of flack for when he loses.
Yeah.
They give him a lot of shit for that. But the man just needed some time to recompose himself, and as any competitor would, man. Like, who wouldn't be upset? You're in the finals.
Yep.
Of course, it means a lot to you, so it's understandable. But the fact that he came back and he gave you a hug and gave you props, it's like, all right,
Yeah, absolutely.
that's fucking cool, man. So that's what I mean. Like, they like to give him a lot of shit, for what he does and this and that. But at the end of the day, he's still a competitor.
Well, I mean, his biggest gripe has always been against Magneto, the Magneto character in general. But that's a whole.
That's a whole nother.
That's a whole different episode.
We could do
a
whole episode on that, just on that alone.
Long story short, guys, I won Evolution, and then an hour later, guess what happens? Justin Wong wins the Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 tournament.
That's right.
The guy that had just beat me a few months ago wins the tournament that's actually on the Evo lineup, and he wins an exponentially larger amount of money. So my win is overshadowed by the guy that had just whooped my ass a few months prior.
Yeah.
At least in my eyes. I mean, I still took the win as a W.
Right.
But I thought, God damn. The main stage is calling to me again. And I was thinking, will I ever get an opportunity to grace that stage again? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
After that, we had 37 Reloaded. In Pomona. Mike Watson from Super Arcade, he put that on. We all know what happened that tournament. I was ready to go. I felt great. I get beat by Sanford with the Rocket Punch heard around the world. He hits me with some...
Like the hitbox of like Storm as she's reeling back for the Hailstorm.
If you've never seen this, guys, just look up Khaos versus Sanford at 37 Reloaded. And just be prepared to witness some bullshit-ass Rocket Punch hit me.
It almost reminds me of like when Roe had beat Sanford.
Yeah.
With that kind of Sentinel hitting.
So I lose to Sanford, and then I lose to Pasadena. in the losers bracket, and we do MSP mirrors.
Mm.
So I get like 5th place, I think, tied for 5th. Once again, man, I'm feeling like I'm working. It's almost like I take a step forward and then I take 2 steps back.
Yeah.
With this shit, and I'm starting to get frustrated. I'm starting to get annoyed, like I'm about to break the limit, and then I'm just set right back down a few notches.
Yeah.
So this is where things get rough. 2015. At this time, Duck Vader, he's made his way back into the community. He had actually been a part of the community for a few years. He went on hiatus and then he came back.
Yeah.
And him and I are going back and forth in sets. Great training partner. I've always said this, that Duck is the greatest training partner that you can have because he shows no remorse. He is merciless. He treats every match like it's a tournament match, and that's what you want.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing this game for fun and you just want to fuck around and have a couple drinks but if you want to train for a tournament, this is the guy. This is the guy that you want to play against. And
merciless is definitely an accurate way to describe the way Duck will beat you, because he really just doesn't hold back. Like if he knows he can beat you, he's just gonna beat you straight.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to step up your game if you want to get him.
There's nobody that I would rather train with
Yeah.
than Duck Vader. That guy is
That's awesome.
the guy to train with. So him and I meet in the grand finals of EVO 2015. I had to work my way up through the losers bracket to get all the way up. I beat Surbot on the way up there. I beat Pasadena. I meet Duck in the finals and I win. Ray and I were set up to play against G-Con and Desmond. West Coast versus East Coast, 2-on-2.
Yeah.
Team lock was a stipulation.
Right.
Ray chose to go with Santhrax, and I chose to go with MSS drones. We lose against them. We don't get a run back. I remember specifically asking Jason, G-Con, you guys ready? And this is while they're in the hallway celebrating. Are you guys ready? We're gonna run it back. And Jason said, "Hey, you know what? Just let us enjoy this for now." And I took that as, "Oh, okay. Well, we'll be in there."
Yeah.
But then we never ran it back. They made us hold that L, which is fine, bro. I did end up beating Jason and Desmond in individual sets at one of the suites.
Yeah.
Yipes was in attendance for that.
Yeah.
I remember I was playing Jason and Yipes was telling him, "You need to clean it up, Jason, clean it up." And once again, long set format, I got the W.
Yeah.
So now we're I think training with Duck got me prepared for the long set mentality. You know, I was still winning short sets, but long sets is where I wanted to dominate because I was losing long sets left and right.
Yeah.
Wes, Neo, Justin Wong. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Anywho, that was 2015. Nothing else happened of value that year. 2016, bro. My life changed. 2016. I had to say goodbye to SoCal because my job promoted me and relocated me to Northern California, downtown San Jose to be exact. So
It's quite a bit away, man.
So my girlfriend, my wife now, my girlfriend at the time, we moved up there. And it was one of the most difficult times that I've ever been put through as a person. I mean, being away from your family, having to deal with the high cost of living.
Oh, yeah, man.
Just...
You think it's bad here?
Yeah, you think it's bad here? I try living downtown up there in Silicon Valley. And, dude, I felt like I was losing my mind. And, of course, there was no local competition. Except for Chunksta would come every once in a while. Johnson, Anthonese would come by a few times. But that was it, man. And all I had was online. And I didn't even have a CRT. I had a LCD TV. So the experience of playing somebody in person came very few and far between. Anyway, 2016 was the year that I felt that Abs was the guy to take me out. Up until then, I felt like, aside from Duck, nobody was going to touch me. I feel like this is it. I've been reigning supreme in the Marvel 2 community. This is it. This is my game.
Yeah.
Like, and Justin Wong wouldn't run it back with me, right?
Yeah.
I'd hit him up every so often, and I'd be like, hey, are we going to run a set? Nothing. And so I said, okay, well, then I'll just focus on what I have in front of me. Abs was one of those guys that was determined to take me out. This guy was on it, man. In 2016, he sent me to losers at Evo. I had never lost to him before.
Yeah.
He was always one of those guys that would make it a point to try and take me out, and I would always kind of edge him out by a little bit. And then this year, he sent me to losers. And I remember getting up, and I was with Daryl, and we walked out. And I said, bro, I need to get it together. I need to figure this out. I drank a fucking Red Bull. I talked to Daryl for a little bit. Came back. Worked my way up through losers. He made it to the grand finals. It was the first year that I thought I couldn't believe that it was somebody other than Duck. I don't think Duck entered the tournament that year. He entered, I think Samurai Showdown made a comeback.
Yeah.
And he entered that tournament instead. So I didn't have to worry about Duck. I thought, oh my God, I have this in the bag. I meet Abs in grand finals, and I take him out.
Uh-huh.
Something snapped. I got into the zone, and it wasn't easy. But I took him out. And I told him straight up afterwards, I said, bro, you pushed me to play at a level that I've never played before.
That's awesome.
And he was beating himself up, man, saying, damn, I was so close and this and that.
Yeah,
and I said, bro, don't worry about it.
It's a hard L to...
Don't worry about it, bro. There's respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's respect. And of course, you got the people in the back that were hoping that I would lose.
Yeah, of course.
Whatever, dude. It is what it is. So here's what I remember. Somebody said in the chat, that I was struggling because you can't use the same play style and expect it to work every year. Modified air dash was already played out. People were getting used to it. The refly stomp patterns, everyone was figuring it out. So it's like every year I had to switch things up.
Yeah.
As somebody who's expected to win, it's fucking difficult, bro.
It's difficult because staying at the top, it's easy. It's easy to get to the top. Well, I wouldn't say it's easy, but I would say it's easier to get to the top than it is to stay at the top. Because at that point, all eyes are on you. You have like a huge target on your back. Everyone is adjusting to your gameplay. They're watching your videos. They're trying to download stuff. They're trying to find any like nooks and crannies that they can to try to exploit and like beat you. So I mean, yeah, it's very difficult to just stay up.
Yeah, not to mention that my lifestyle since moving to San Jose was a lot different. I felt like I was spiraling downward because of the stress of work, relationship problems. My eating habits were fucking awful. Dude, I weighed maybe 270 at one point.
Oh,
I was big, dude. I was a big fucking dude. And it was affecting my gameplay, reaction time and all that. My head wasn't right.
Yeah.
So 2016 was rough, man. 2017 was even worse in terms of Marvel. I don't want to really get too much into the personal aspect of it,
right?
But
I don't think we should.
When it comes to the game, I felt like I had hit another plateau because once again I lost at Evo.
Yeah.
I had taken a few trips to the East Coast, and this is where I realized. By the way, shout outs to Blue Jay for hosting. I felt like the East Coast guys were catching up, and they were figuring me out. I was struggling against Chris Matrix. I was struggling against G-Con, even Sanford. Sanford was figuring me out.
Yeah.
And he was coming back into the game.
Yeah.
Here's where I fucked up. I lost to Sanford at Evo. I chose to not play Magneto until the grand finals, which is what fucked me up. Because I ran into him during the regular bracket and I picked Santhrax. And this was 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
And he beat me 2-0. So I'm in losers. Again, I have to work my way up. Back eventually, yeah. So we're back in grand finals. Guess what? It's time for fucking MSS.
Yeah.
And it was 3 out of 5. I beat him 3-1 or 3-0 the first set.
Yeah.
So if I had stuck to MSS in that 2 out of 3, I might have won. And then in grand finals, I just had to beat him to 3-1, and it would have been done.
It would have been rad.
Curtains.
Yeah.
So I beat him in the first set. Second set, he beats me. I get second place. Everybody's fucking loving it. Everyone's going crazy. Sanford's having a field day saying, see, I could figure it out. He was telling people, yeah, see, everybody gets downloaded sooner or later or some shit like that. And I had to tell him, hey, man, you know that if I would have picked MSS the first set instead of Santhrax, I just wanted to do it to prove a point that not everybody picks Magneto against you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was my fault. I still have to hold that L.
Yeah.
Just like everything else. But that was 2017. Now, as far as San Jose goes, where I was living, I'm fucking done, dude.
Yeah.
The company that I was working for, I felt like I was set up to fail from the get-go. The industry wasn't great. The company got hit with a bunch of class action lawsuits, and it's a sales position. So what happens when a company gets hit with a bunch of class action lawsuits? They have to make the money back somehow.
Yeah.
So guess what? The product that you're selling goes up. Guess what stays the same? The quotas that you have to hit. So as a supervisor, as a regional supervisor, it's tough to keep morale up when, first of all, cost of living is high enough as it is in the area.
Yeah.
And they still expect you to hit your goals. I felt like I was going insane, bro. I mean, it's sales. When it's good, it's good. When it's not, it's
really bad.
It's really fucking bad.
No.
It got to the point where I said, you know what? That's it, man. I'm done. I'm done with this company. I'm ready to move back to SoCal, and I didn't know what I was gonna do, man. This is this sales job that I've had is all I've known for the past 8 years.
Yeah.
What the fuck? And mind you, the game is the only thing that's keeping me sane, and I'm still losing to people. I'm losing to Roundhouse on PS3. I'm losing to, this is the only good thing that I have. I get second place at Evo. Like, I'm just, I'm having a hard time keeping it all together.
Right.
So I make the call. I say, it's time, dude. I need to regroup as a player. I need to regroup as a person. I pick up the phone and I tell my boss, hey, I'm done. Here's my 2 weeks.
Oh, so you did give him a 2 weeks. Okay.
Yeah, here's my 2 weeks. That's it. I'm done. I moved back to SoCal. Okay. Did a couple of side gigs here and there. Kind of regroup a little bit.
Yeah.
2018 is when I start my new career. Shout outs to my brother for helping me out with this DHS contract position.
That's awesome.
It was time. It was a lifestyle change. More active, different field, and it helped me kind of regroup and put my mentality back to what matters, which was my family, which was my girlfriend, my wife now, and I can say that it was the best decision that I could have made at the time.
Yeah.
Because now the relationship that I have with my parents has never been better. The relationship that I have with my siblings up until this time, 2018, maybe 2019, was rocky as fuck.
Yeah.
So you're talking about 4 years of peace and somewhat tranquility compared to the years before where we were at each other's throats and there was friction and drama and shit like that.
Yeah.
And now we're at a place where we've never been better, man. I'm super grateful for that. And I feel like that wouldn't have came about had I stayed up there in NorCal.
Yeah.
Now, was it an experience that could have been avoided? Well, yeah. I didn't have to take the promotion, right?
Right.
But had I not gone through that experience, I wouldn't be here where I'm at today as a person.
It builds character, bro.
Yeah. So enough with the personal shit. So 2018, Khaos is back. He's back in SoCal. But this time it's a little different. Okay? Losing to Sanford made me have to make adjustments again. So now I feel like I'm at a point where I have an answer to everything. Even the only thing that I haven't figured out is what to do against MSP. At the time. Now it's a totally different story. You can pick MSP on me all fucking day.
Yeah.
And I'll wreck that shit.
Yep.
I own that team now.
Yep.
It's not fucking with me anymore. Any MSP.
Yep.
But at this point, 2018, I'm still fixing a few things, okay? There are no challengers. 2018, everybody is fucking MIA. Nobody wants to play against me. Money matches are non-existent at this time.
I remember that year.
Yeah. It's non-existent at this time.
Yeah.
And I have a new career, I have a new mindset. I'm feeling good. I'm losing weight. Okay, the weight's coming off. I'm still not moving on to any other games. I think I gave Marvel Infinite a try.
Oh, God.
Okay, so Marvel 3 had a sequel called Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. I bought it at GameStop, and I returned it the following day. I think I did like 2 trials.
Yeah.
And I said, fuck this, dude. I took it back to GameStop. I'm like, here, give me back my money. Nothing happened EVO 2018. 2019 is the year that I had arguably my best year in Marvel 2. If I would have stopped playing, 2019 would have been the year where I would have just been content with what I had accomplished.
And riding off into the sunset.
Yeah.
You had a picture.
This was the year where I demolished every single person that came my way, whether it was West Coast, whether it was East Coast. Nobody was touching me.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm going to have to save for the next episode because
we're going to get into
there's a lot. There's a lot to go there. And I don't want to leave you guys hanging, but unfortunately we're out of time here. I did want to cover a few things before we let you guys go. We usually have a portion of the show at this point called the Run Back, where we talk about matches that we want to, that the player wants to, a loss that you want to avenge or correct. And for me, since the episode is about me, I think that there is no run back for me because I've corrected every single loss that I've ever had.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form. Wes, I felt like I corrected it over the years.
Yeah.
Neo, the same thing with Neo. Reset. We recently ran a couple sets, and I made it a point to beat him with MSS, not using any anti-air assist, because Reset's active now. He's an active player now.
Yes, he is.
And so is Mr. Pasadena too. I made sure I corrected that. Sanford, Justin Wong will leave for the next episode.
Like I said, we got a lot of juicy bets coming.
Oh, yeah.
Stay tuned, guys.
Yeah. There's nobody right now. And you can say, oh, well, nobody plays anymore. Right now in this present time, as long as my fucking stick is working, nobody's fucking with me in this game, dude. Nobody. And you know what the best part is?
What?
Is that now I have an anti-air team, which means that MSP doesn't work anymore. It doesn't.
All goes out the window.
It all goes out the window. So, what do you do after this? What do you do, man? The only thing I have to look forward to now is Evolution in August. I still have to see what the format is, if it's 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
But maybe it's the fact that the tournament is coming up, but I feel that old chaotic one energy that's just kind of like waiting to push out.
Yeah.
But that's only because I know that the competition is what lies ahead. Yeah. Anything could happen though.
Do we have any info on the tournament organizer yet or no?
Joshua Brown is the guy that's running it.
Okay.
We're pushing for it to be on Saturday, not Friday.
Yeah.
Because most people have the weekends off.
Yeah, people usually fly in
like Friday night or Saturday morning or something like that. So we're trying to push for Saturday, but that's all up in the air.
Yeah.
As far as individual sets, nothing's set in stone for me. Nobody wants it, bro. Nobody wants it unless it's a handicap match. I have to use certain characters. I have to
give up some kind of game.
Give up games. Give you a 5-game lead or some shit like that.
Yeah. Some kind of stipulation.
Yeah, some kind of stip. So we'll see what happens, man. Aside from that, I did want to let you guys know that my good buddy Mike Khaos, the voice of the voiceless, he's gearing for a return. Okay.
Mike Khaos is coming back. Y'all be ready.
He's coming back, man. The infamous mouth on the microphone is coming back, and he specifically wants a piece of Andy Doom, and he wants a piece of Roundhouse. Oh. Of course, it's tough for him to be on social media because he has no filter, and it's easy as 1, 2, 3 to get banned from there now.
Unfortunately, yes.
But he's putting in work, guys. He's built a stick from scratch.
Awesome.
He's had somebody engineer a fight case for him.
Yeah.
He's put the buttons in. It's to his liking, and he's starting to train with people. So before you know it, he's going to come around and make those challenges. So just be ready.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
That's so hype.
Aside from that, guys, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for your likes, your subscribing to the channel. And I hope to see you guys at Evolution. I'm going to put the link in the description below. I'm going to put Ivan's social media info in the description below. Make sure you shoot him a like and a follow. And if you guys have any questions, hit me in the comments. I know Ivan had something that he wanted to include in there.
Yeah. So for you guys in the audience, I would love to hear back from you guys and comment your top 3 Evo moments that you guys have witnessed over the years, whatever the case may be. Favorite matches, run backs, hype moments. We want to hear it, and love to hear the feedback from you guys. So, and be sure to follow us on YouTube. And like I said, thank you all for the support. Can't wait to do this again with you guys.
All right, guys. So I'm going to put the Origins story, the next part, which we're obviously going to wrap up. I'm probably going to wait an episode or 2 before we wrap this up because I have a lot to say regarding the year 2019. But I want to get a couple of guests in here to kind of give their bits and pieces of Marvel history. I know you guys have been fiending for a few names out there, so if you have anybody that you want to see on here,
comment.
Throw it up in the comments,
yep,
and we'll do our best to make that happen for you guys. Once again, thank you for listening. And for my active community, step your shit up, guys. because come Evo, I'm not fucking around anymore.
Evil's right around the corner.
My shit's going to be working. It's going to be wired. It's going to be ready. I'm going to take this tournament.
That's fucking crazy, man.
Try to stop me.
Dude.
You know what I say, bro? Step up or step aside.
Yep.
And that's it. All right, guys.
Can't wait to see it, man.
Take care. Stay safe. We love you guys. And we'll catch you on the next one.